Merry Christmas from Scratch and Wolf Studio.
Yeah.
It's that time again for another episode of Rage Across the Internet, your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. As always, I'm your host, Porter. Sitting to my left, the man with the reddest nose, Mr. Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody. Happy holiday.
And sitting like super far to my right, it is Santa's favorite little helper, Mr. CJ Claus himself. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man.
Welcome back.
I could have done New Year's, but it's everyone's favorite dropped ball. Danny Tyson, like, what's that? Oh, maybe I should have.
Well, that's going to be a Let's Play episode.
That's
so.
it's on the air, so it's recorded here.
Yeah.
So, Santa's favorite helper and everyone's favorite drop ball.
Oh.
In one timeline, he's got the red nose. One, he's the drop ball. That's
right?
the RA Timeverse for you.
It is the RA, and we are here in the middle of the RAI Timeoverse. Because
holy shit.
While you spent 2 weeks waiting with bait, you did not. You had other shit going on. But we have spent seconds doing this intro at the end of the last show to immediately go back into the questions. We're not, though.
The fucking Timeoverse.
Right. No, for real. Hey, everybody. This is Rage Across the Internet. It's your first show. Glad to have you. This is the show where we discuss all things Werewolf the Apocalypse. Hooray.
Hip, hip.
Great.
Where's CJ on that one?
She's still marveling at that intro.
That's fair. I am too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
I wanted to do It's a Holiday one.
It's fine.
And so, yes, happy holidays, everybody. So I hope everything's going well for all of you. And if it's not, well, you've got us. So let us make you laugh and enjoy life a little bit more.
Yeah. If it's not, it is now. We're here for you.
That's right. And this is
If you're not having a good day, you'll have one.
Or else.
Wow. Or else.
Danny, get the hammer.
Ooh.
See, look. Maybe you have a good day, or maybe you don't want so good no more. That's up to you. Life's about choices. We're going to ask you to have a good time. Maybe Danny will ask Carter later. I don't know what. That's not up to me. And actually, since we're asking stuff, you know what I'd like for Christmas?
What?
Is for you guys to give us some extra love.
Yes.
In a legal, consensual way. And there are ways you can do that.
I consent to you giving me some extra love.
Oh, Danny. Oof.
Maybe that's the
Are you
wraparound.
sure you want that on the air, Danny?
That might be the rap. You just did it. No, but to show your support, which you can do through word of mouth. You can do through very positive 5-star ratings. Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
Right? Spread the word. Hopefully you love the show. If not, harder. And Danny's got the hammer. So,
Don't forget.
But if you're in a position to, we do have our Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/rageacrosstheinternet, which we have our backer tiers. You can do a one-time donation, whatever's in your heart if you're in a position to do so. Probably not, because you're probably completely wrecked after the holidays.
Oh, I'm sure, because I know I am.
Right? But, hey, it's a thought if you can. And if you can't, we totally understand. Because, again, holidays and the world being how it is, and look, your money's valuable, and we understand and respect that. But if you can, we have the tiers, we have rewards for those tiers, and it would mean a lot to us. If not, keep listening, keep sharing the love.
Likes,
and,
reviews, word of mouth, all that to help get us around.
That's true. Danny likes to get around.
I get around.
I mean, they're not Alaskan Kid, but they feel
Well,
right, buddy?
Jesus Christ. Okay, let's
I mean, they're not from Maine, but
Could be. I'll know where Danny gets up to.
yeah, right?
Oh boy.
He just said he gets around, so.
Yep, yes I did. I said it.
So yeah, back to our
Back to the second part of the Drunk Drawer 7. 8 and 9.
who knows?
Yeah,
the latest episode of the Drunk Drawer Diaries.
Yes.
Drunk Drawer Diaries.
Oh, maybe.
Someone's hitting that eggnog a little hard. New Year's right around the corner. I must be pre-gaming. But hey, let's go to the, to the next part of the Junk Drawer Diaries.
All right.
I love that name, by the way.
So So Andre asks, what's the worst deed name you can imagine?
Kurt Blood of More Blood.
I knew that was going to be your answer.
All bark.
Paul Bart?
All bark.
Is there
all bark, no bite.
Oh. I mean, that's kind of awesome, but yes, that would imagine why it's a really bad deed name. I like the Lost in the Woods pack.
Oh, Runs from Shadows.
Runs from Shadows, Cold Fire Calhoun.
Beast Climber.
Beast Climber was the cool one.
But it's a bad one, though. Like, it's bad. It's not a good name.
It was the only, out of all of them, it was the best one.
It's true.
And that being best being, oof.
Runs from Shadows, Tree Climber.
That's what it was. Runs from Shadows.
Yep.
I've got my own version of the Lost in the Woods pack, and one of them is, their D-name is Embertail. They happened to get waylaid in the middle of a fight when somebody set their tail on fire.
That's a good deed name. Like, that's very descriptive. I'm right there.
I love it. All right, then how do you foreshadow without making it too obvious?
I'm really interested to hear CJ's answer because I sometimes have the opposite problem.
That you don't make it obvious enough?
Right.
Yep. I was just going to say
like, you guys have just blown right by several of my fucking cues in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, CJ.
It is that balancing act. It is that weird balancing act of how do you make it not obvious enough, but at the same time, how do you make it, too obvious? Because, I've had a few instances where, like, what would be the correct wording here? I've used the ignorance of my players a few times whenever it comes to the lore of the game, since I primarily run games for just like fresh players, people who don't know much of anything. This is where I can get away with some like very obvious foreshadowing, like, oh no, this pack of Ronin are going to betray you. These guys aren't Ronin, but you don't know the cues to look for. Or as my players start knowing more, I gotta get a little bit more careful about that foreshadowing to make sure it's not too obvious. But if you want like the easiest answer, sprinkle in a few red herrings, because then you might get it to where they start overthinking, like, was this actually a thing? Not, but that's a balancing act.
No, you're right. And see, that's the thing too, right? Because
I overthink the shit out of things.
Well, yeah, but that's you.
I know.
You have to, you're absolutely right, it's a balancing act, Siege. 100%. So when you're watching a serialized TV show, not when you're binging it, but when you're just watching.
Sure.
Or maybe even if you're binging, it doesn't stop this shit from happening. And they do the last time on.
Oh.
And suddenly they show a character that you haven't seen for 3 seasons.
Yep, I was just thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, no shit. Well, you're bummed. You're mad because now you know what the episode's about.
Yep.
It's like, why did you show me that? I've watched the fucking show. I know how to pay attention. You didn't need to remind me who a character in the show that I watched was, because I watch it.
Yep. Supernatural did that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of shows did that a lot. Yeah. And that's the thing. Oh, so this character's coming back. Cool. That would have been a really fun surprise if you'd not insulted my intelligence. But here's the thing, right? Is that if you only bring something like that up when the character's coming back, you've telegraphed yourself and you fucked it up. Right? If the only time I bring up a news story is when that news story is about to shove itself up the players' asses, then that's not effective. So you have to balance it a little bit. So bringing up a headline or talking about what's on the TV every now and then, even if it's not relevant, okay? If it's just a football game on the TV, the fact that you have made a habit of occasionally explaining what's going on the TV as a way of peppering the world around you and giving life to it, it allows you to insert important things to foreshadow that in an organic way without putting a giant fucking exclamation point like we're at an MMO or something. But you've got to establish a pattern of putting detail in the world. And you have to trust your players that if you're used to it being like cartoons on the TV or the local sports game or the popular sitcom, when it is the news, you have to trust them to notice that's different and pay attention.
I think that's fair.
I think so, but also I have a problem of writing this shit over you guys and just fucking blowing right by you with it. So, I mean, what the fuck do I know?
Well,
That's the other problem, is you gotta also make sure you're not being too clever.
Exactly.
And I don't want to say that's a problem, but I will say you're very good at writing those, but at the same time, I think it's because you're so good that I overthink so hard.
Well, it's the weird shit. Like, how did you miss the fact that I pointed out on multiple occasions that this character smelled like gasoline in a world where there's an arsonist running around the city?
Yeah.
I will not comment at this time.
And it's not just you, because there was a whole group who that went right on by.
I know.
It's that balancing act of, like, Googling puzzles for toddlers and actually making a criminal scheme. It's that balancing act. You gotta go somewhere in there.
Oh, CJ, I love that.
I say that as an actual example because I have done that for D&D games because I sometimes make puzzles too complicated.
See, this goes back.
And you gotta find, like, simple puzzles.
Right. This goes back to that third-party verification. Yep.
Yeah,
goes back to the third-party verification. Get someone else to look at it clean to make sure it makes sense and that a human being can follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that.
If you got a mystery book, a show, or whatever that you really enjoy and that you've gone through, go through it again. Start over, go through the season again, and you'll be able to pick out all the foreshadowing moments. That's a good way to start looking at it. Some of my favorite books, The Dresden Files. Book 1 has a few twists and turns. On a reread, it's like, oh no, how am I this much of an idiot for not seeing this? Because you now have that information, but that's a good way to look at how to do that subtle foreshadowing, or sometimes the very blatant ones.
This reminds me of an arc that was done in the Batman comics around 2002? 2003 maybe. It was called Hush. It was written by Jeff Loeb, art by Jim Lee. And if you haven't read it, I recommend it. It was a really good arc. It led to some things that I consider pretty dumb shit, but that wasn't part of this arc. It just sprang, a couple people took ideas off it. And so I don't want to ruin it because it was one of the last really good things that Jeff Loeb wrote. I was a big fan of his work, and not so much anymore. But look, man, his kid died. What do you want?
I get it.
Yeah. Oh, people gave him a lot of shit because his writing went downhill. But it's like his fucking son died. Anyway, not the point. The cool thing about Hush is, it was coming out monthly. It was a 12-part arc, so you had a whole year of this mystery.
Cool.
And they would foreshadow. They would put clues. Jim Lee would put clues into the background in the art.
Oh, that's smart.
Right? Now, some of those were red herrings.
Oh.
But it just made me think of that. It was really cool. I have very fond memories of me and Danny, our friend Chase. Mm-hmm. And like the newest issue of Hush would come out and we would go over the thing with a fine-tooth comb. We'd reread the previous parts to try to figure out the mystery.
Nice.
The rub is you couldn't.
Really?
Yeah. And I bring this up. I mean, it reminds me of it because this is important is you have to make sure that whatever you're foreshadowing or whatever scheme you're plotting, they have to be able to figure it out. Otherwise, you're just wasting everyone's time.
So it was just a waste of time.
You also have to accept the risk that if you make it so they could figure it out, there is the risk they will figure it out too soon.
Right. And you got to be prepared for that. And yeah, I'm not saying that it was a good read either way. It was just upsetting that you could not have solved the puzzle with the information you were given. You could have guessed. Right. Anyone can guess.
Sure, but
the progression of clues did not line up.
So there wasn't enough clues. There was some, but not nearly enough.
Look, I haven't read it in a while. I was just reminded of it.
That's fair.
But
that's fair.
Hush was good. And poor Jeff Loeb. He also did the color books. Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, Captain America White, Spider-Man Blue. Those were very good.
Oh, cool.
He was teamed up with Tim Sale for those, who, if you remember Heroes, the show,
yep.
Tim Sale was the one who did all the art.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like those.
Fun trivia.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So then the last question from Andre. How can you make an antagonist scary or intimidating? And I I can kind of answer for you, Porter.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not yet endorsing this response.
That's fair, but I imagine you might. It's obvious, and if we haven't said it enough times, what the fuck are you listening to? Porter and I are very close friends. Porter knows how I think 90% of the time. So if he knows what I'm thinking, he knows kind of what, like, freaks me out. So this might make it a little easier for him to be able to know what scares me, to know what just, irritates me, frustrates, like the kind of villain, if you will, that Vermilion is. And I know Vermilion was already in your world before I started playing.
Only super barely.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But still, you know how you were able to tweak him enough to make him, like, just part of what just gets me.
You know, I do not endorse your answer. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
At all? Really?
At all.
Well, fuck.
He's not a clown, is he?
No. I would have incorporated those elements, actually.
Yes. I have the fear of clowns, the calrophobia, if you will. Not clownophobia. I'll just make that clear. Calrophobia. Yes, I have it.
Ironically, clownophobia is the fear of shrimp. It's weird.
Got it. For sure.
I didn't say Frenchman.
Isn't one of the, or whatever. I was gonna say
That's mastodonophobia.
Oh, got it.
This is a loser bit.
Yep, it's gone.
This is terrible.
Yep.
It's dumb as shit.
I see. I thought you kind of tweaked him a little bit just to piss me off.
Not in the slightest.
Wow. Well, forget I fucking said anything, people, and I'll let Porter just answer the question then.
It's crazy. Now, that said, if you know your players well enough, you know what buttons to press. That's never a bad thing. But no, I did not do that for Vermilion. I had a direction I wanted to take him. Mm-hmm. And again, it's important for me. It was important for me. Is you want to build these characters. And with someone sick asshole like Vermilion, obviously you don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. Let's not get too method here. That's what happened to Jared Leto.
Nice.
I'm not even kidding.
I know. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I do mean Jared Leto, but I was also thinking Heath Ledger.
I mean...
Either way, we'll stick with the Jared Leto.
That's fine.
So that's a thing, right? You don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, obviously, because let's not. But, and this becomes something about how you work your craft here. This is a thing that comes from experience and from practice. Because as a storyteller, the words you choose to use and how you use them are very important.
Should be.
I mean, it's everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, how you speak, the cadence of your voice, the pitch you use, the words you use, the pacing, it's all very important. Because you can say perfectly normal things. For example, I love a good cheeseburger. I do. Cheeseburgers are great. Eat some French fries with it. Oh, could you imagine, Danny? Can you imagine the bite of that fresh cheeseburger? Maybe there's bacon in it. You like bacon, don't you?
I love don't bacon.
See, and like I just, you can feel about what just happened however you feel, but you did feel something. And I said nothing.
Out of the norm? No.
And I just talked about lunch. Right? There was nothing creepy about what I said. It's about how I said it.
Yes.
And whether you found that funny or stupid or whatever, but you felt something. So how you do that is important. And if you're in a group where you're face-to-face, your body language is important. Be mindful of how you're doing what you're doing. People judge what is scary weirdly anymore. I hear a lot, because, I watch a lot of dumb shit. I watch a lot of dumb shit on YouTube.
It happens.
Like I do a lot of these, and I've talked about this. You guys know because we talk on the regular, but for the audience, I do a lot of these reaction channels, like people watching movies for the first time, because I need a level of wholesomeness in my world. just to fucking balance out just the garbage and the shit I have to deal with all the time. It's like, oh, so what watches Rocky first or The Exorcist for the first time? Good. There's some normalcy. Yay. But then they'll be like, this wasn't good because there weren't any jump scares. Jump scares aren't scary.
No.
They startle, sure. And this is important. This is why I bring this up. Because what you want is you want something that sticks with your people. You know, keep in mind that memorable performance. And I would even suggest looking for examples. You know, go to the genre. Go to horror. Go in and find out what works on you. What lingers. You know, I look at a great example is the movie The Strangers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like, gore is not scary. Okay. Jump scares are just by design. They're not scary. They're called jump scares. So therefore you say you're scared, but you're not scared. They're hollow. Oh, you got me. And I forgot about it 3 seconds later. Cool.
I didn't forget.
Of a jump scare? It's just a loud noise at you once. But the end,
it's a cheap tactic.
It
That's
is
the problem.
Okay, fair.
But the end of The Strangers, and spoiler alert, if you have not and you have interest, just we're going to make this like 30 seconds. I'm going to look at the timer. All right. You know, you have the main characters and they're tied up and they're looking at the killers. And the woman goes, why did you do this to us? And the killer looks one of the killers looks and tilts her head and goes, because you were home.
I never actually watched it, and I didn't know that.
Now that stuck with me.
Fuck.
Because that shit could happen.
Yeah.
And the randomness of it, that got me. The sequel sucks, by the way, don't bother. But it's, you know, something like that, you know. And it doesn't even have to be necessarily a horror movie. You know, I think in terms of presence of performance, and you're going to be shocked when I say this one, and then I'm going to release the floor to CJ because I have way overspoken, and this poor man is sitting here waiting to answer the question also. Sorry. Is Jeremy Irons is Scar in The Lion King. And I'll bet you people didn't even know that I knew what that was.
I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. I didn't think you'd go that direction. Okay.
See, I knew. See, are you surprised a little bit that I've ever seen it?
I mean, I'm not surprised you've seen it. I know when the movie came out, and we're only a few years apart. So.
I was aggressively tooled for that movie when it came out.
No, you're only 4 years older than me, dude.
Yes, but which were those 4 years? I was a teenager. No teenager watching Disney. Are you kidding me?
Okay, fine. But even later in life, still, you eventually have seen it. Anyway, go ahead. But yes, Jeremy Irons, which, yeah, it was a fantastic role for him.
Yes, it was. That's my point, is the gravitas of the role. That's another great example of how to make a memorable, possibly intimidating, or,
yeah,
you know.
I like that. That's it. Wow. Didn't expect that. Nice one.
Yeah. Kind of like movies.
Go ahead, CJ. How do you make
Finally, I'm so sorry.
How do you make your antagonist?
Oh, it's all good.
Scary or intimidating?
So it's fun hearing some of this stuff. How do I make them scary or intimidating? There are some times where I will rely on the shock factor just a little bit. A jump scare is cheap, and it's a cheap tactic that only works once, but if you only ever use it the once, there's the chance the players might be expecting it to happen again, and that expectation is the big part that could actually be scary. But a lot of times, most of my villains that I run, if you take them out of the scheme, if you take them out of the middle of this, they sound like just normal people. Like, this is somebody going about having their day. Like, hey, I'm just getting back some property that was stolen. But when you start putting it into perspective of the games, it can get a little creepier. But one of my best moments of not necessarily making a villain more antagonistic, but making an entire setting that was kind of the villain. I was running, it was originally a D&D game, but it was set in a little world similar to like a Silent Hill-esque realm. And this was one of the last like in-person games I had before COVID. I had bought this little just Bluetooth speaker and hid it in a potted plant. And the entire time I had just a very low buzz of white noise playing. And anytime the monster showed up, I turned it off.
Ooh, I like that.
So they'd go for an hour, maybe two, hearing this white noise and just, maybe thinking it was the ceiling fan or something. But then as soon as it cuts off, immediately everybody's looking around. Something's wrong.
See, that's excellent. I love that.
Yeah, the sounds you use are very much just like something that you could use to influence for a little while Discord still had some of the music bots. In the Wild West game, I had one of the guardians of a set the players had been going to that was particularly fond of messing with the new guys. And as they were wandering through the swamps, going into like almost hip deep mud at times. Once again, very low. I had the Huntress's Lullaby from Dead by Daylight playing in the background.
Oh, beautiful.
And just occasionally had them spot this character up in a tree, but never for more than like a second. And once again, when the music stopped, that's when they were ready to make the appearance. And all that build-up, all that tension, and then just suddenly it cuts off. It immediately puts everybody on high alert.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. I can only imagine.
Oh, I love it. I love that. That's outstanding.
Good God.
And if you've played Dead by Daylight or seen any of it at all, if you hear the Huntress's Lullaby, that will just sound that plays across the map when she's close by. It is literally just her humming a lullaby. Now think about hearing that in the middle of the night, in the middle of a Louisiana swamp, shortly after it's finished raining.
That's creepy as shit, dude. That's fucking awesome, though.
No, I love it. I love it. I think I want to springboard off that for a second.
Sure.
Is maybe I underestimate or undersell, because CJ just fucking put the nail on the head, the power of sound. Or the implication that can be brought from a thing. I had an antagonist in the earlier days, right? Named Kane Gaiafo, super original. He's fucking Gaiafo. What? What are you, some kind of spiral? What? He fought with a silver chainsaw because we were teenagers and that's what happens.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Look. But he was a recurring
You're
antagonist.
copping to it, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, look. Funny thing is,
I know.
Yeah, it's the
newer version, yeah.
Yeah, it was the original version of Kane Swipes at Moonlight.
Yep.
Who was like a real character, by the way. But this character, he fought with this chainsaw and he was a recurring villain, and it got to the point because of the potential damage he could do when that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Chainsaws at the combat shatter already will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But you put a silver chain on that sumbitch? That's absurd.
Yes.
It's already plus 7 lethal damage.
And now it's ag.
Fuck.
Yep.
Right. So, it got to the point where if I would talk about chainsaws,
It'd creep him out.
right. Like, if they're in Home Depot and they're just walking by that section,
they
would get nervous.
I would too.
Yeah.
If it got to that point where you're in Home Depot and you're walking by and there are 7 chainsaws still on the shelf, I would get intimidated immediately.
It worked. They would.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking awesome, though. I hate it. And I hate you for it. But it's awesome.
I actually polished that character. He took a cairn from them.
Fucking hell, seriously?
Yeah, they killed one of his packmates.
Oh.
So it became personal.
Yeah, I was going to say, then it's a personal thing anymore.
But see, this isn't related, but what's neat is that character, the deal with his pack, is they were all dead.
Oh, yeah.
I've told you about this?
The skulls in the...
Yeah. He would kill them and put their skulls in a gym bag, and he treated them like they were alive.
Yeah, he talked to them and stuff. I remember this.
So one of the skulls got busted in a fight.
Yep.
So
Busted
you killed his packmate, so yeah, he rallied a bunch of other spirals, and they took the sept. They took the sept to the Scratching Wolf.
Oh, no one will ever take the Scratching Wolf. Not here.
Yeah, are you sure about that?
Look, that was a different game in a different setting.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway.
Next then. These questions come from Operator.
Hey, up.
Certified fire starter. I love how he's changed that, by the way.
I preferred Fireman, but it was because that was my...
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. All right, Op asks, where do you start with writing a chronicle?
The beginning, duh.
Where do you? Yeah, well, he asked the different several of these. Where do you start with writing? In a chronicle, the player characters, the antagonist, the theme, and do you work small scale to large scale and vice versa?
That is all very specific. We answered a version of that, but this is very, I want to give a good answer too, but it's like, it does vary for me based on what I'm building and how the inspiration hit. The go-to example would be The Guilty again, because when I started, I had that strong idea of how it would end.
That I remember, yeah.
And it was all built from that ending. And that was uncommon for me because, as we brought up, I think, last time, when you do shit like that, and this is what happened, is you have to allow for that to go wrong. Where you start, like I said, I like to do the skeleton. I like to have my bullet points of where I'm going, and then fill in as necessary, stretch where you need to. And I literally do it with bullet points, like in a Word file. This way I can insert something or remove something as necessary as I start to build that.
Maybe point arcs to certain timelines when these different arcs would happen.
Well, I put it in order.
Okay.
So that's what you do. With the bullet points, you can move around as necessary and expand as you go. And that's just the initial skeleton process. Then you start to script out. But in terms of, all of those different moving parts, where I start, really, it depends on how the inspiration hits. But you do need to factor in all those things. And I mentioned, as I said last week, motivation of character is extremely important. It all has to flow together correctly. It all has to make sense. You can't just have something happen because you think it's cool that it would happen. That's not the reason. You can decide something would be cool if it happened, but then you have to figure out a reason for it to work. Not just because I said so and I'm the storyteller.
I mean, while that's kind of fair that, you are the storyteller and that should be a reason, but at least you're giving reasoning why.
Well, you have to, you don't have to. You can choose to do a bad job.
I was going to say, but do you really want to do a bad job? No, you don't want to do a bad job.
Shit doesn't just happen, because I wanna isn't good enough. As a storyteller, you have an obligation to your group to give them a great experience. I feel strongly that way, that the integrity of the game is paramount. And so everything has to line up. Everything has to make sense. You can't cheat your players out of the experience.
I think it's pretty fair.
CJ, you've been quiet. Chime in with me here.
I was going to say, with the, as an example of something, you can have that idea of, this would be really cool if this happened, or I would like to run this scene, but it's got to definitely go beyond, it'd be really cool if this happened. Me and Porter were talking the other day, and I had the idea for a scene with the player pack in one of my games meeting the villains without knowing it, and it was one of those things of, I had talked myself into a corner where maybe it was being too clever, but we eventually managed to actually work it into a way that it was it makes sense all around, and it's not just because I'd like this to happen, or it'd be cool if this happened, or it'd be neat. There's now those deeper reasons behind it, and it kind of leads into how I structure my stories a lot of times with I do a similar bullet point system, just I make little titles for sections and expand from there. That's how most of it goes. As long as it all flows together and makes sense and the dots eventually connect at the end.
Well, and that's exactly it too, right? Because it's not just, and again, it's something I mentioned before, that's fine, is that your players don't need to see all of this.
You just need to know that it's happening and why.
Right. It just has to flow organically. They don't need every step of the plan. But if you don't have every step of the plan, how do we know that this plan holds together? How do we know that it makes sense? You have to know. Otherwise, you're cheating your players. And I think that was a good example. Is this the thing that Caesar just brought up? Because that was fun. It was a good talking about it. And we put the nail on that pretty quick, I think. That night. But yeah, it's not just because I think it's cool. That can be the reason for the start.
To start.
Yeah, but now make it work. And also, you can't be afraid to, even if you don't want to, ditch a thing. And I'll go back to Into the Breach with that shit.
Oh, wow.
What, 2001, 2002's Christmas? 2001's Christmas. We released them. I think it was 01.
Okay, then yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's been a while, so...
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So we've got to figure out which year.
Hold it to the time of verse, people.
Time of verse. But yeah, it was something that I talked about during the postmortems that we did publish for everybody back in like 01. That 4-part little chronicle that I started you guys with.
21.
Did I say 01?
Yeah. I think that's why I got confused.
Okay. Yes. 2021. Jesus.
I was like, holy shit, we haven't been doing it that long.
I misspoke. My bad. My point here, though, is one of the scenes that I envisioned, and this goes back to better with the question, because we've kind of gotten away from it a bit.
A little bit. Not as much.
Is one of the inception points of that particular little chronicle, that little arc, was a scene. It was this idea of a forward sept, right? There wasn't a cairn, it was a forward sept. There's a pack of, or a group, several packs of Garou who are doing a job and are thrust together, and they don't necessarily like each other. They're not bound by a totem. There's not a cairn here. They're just all, and the personalities are clashing. Part of that was this new group. You throw this new group in who no one is interested in training or prepared to train or in a position to.
Wherever Gaia takes us.
So it's all on the job training. You guys went through your right.
I know. I was just fucking around.
Yeah, it's a different thing. But one of the centerpieces of that 4-parter was when Whiplash had finally had enough of Waya's shit and was going to just take to beating on that man.
Which, if you knew beforehand, would make sense.
Well, and that's the thing.
But not knowing beforehand.
Well, it's not that it didn't make sense. I was peppering it through. Even then, because I didn't decide to cut that scene until later. And I talked about it in the episode, but that was, again, several years ago.
Right.
The idea was that, this Whiplash, or Ahram Gat, leader of the Rabies and Chains Pack, was getting sick and tired of Waya Thricewizened sitting around doing nothing when he was the one that caused all these people to be together. He felt that Wyatt wasn't pulling his weight, and now he's giving all these attention to these cubs, which fine, but when you're suggesting, hey, we found what we think is the start of a spiral pit, and we're going to go in and take care of it, and you're suggesting these kids sit out and sit in the woods with you and you can tell them stories? We're going to put our lives on the line for your bullshit. We shouldn't be here at all. I should be patrolling the bond back home. Defending my sept. But what, because you sucked off the elder someone 30 years ago, that now I have to sit here, my home's in danger, and now you're going to send me out into a hive? Meanwhile, you're going to take 1/3 of our forces and tell them about the time that you, I don't know what, met a bear in the woods? So Whiplash was going to lose it and beat this man within an inch of his life. It was, a centerpiece for this whole thing. It was one of those scenes that inspired the entire 4-parter. And I ultimately decided I couldn't run it. It's not that it didn't make sense. It's that I knew, because at this point we knew we were going to continue the game. You guys were in.
It would have changed everyone's perspective.
Forever.
Yeah.
You would have, and I was fully intending on moving you guys to that sept after that 4-parter. It didn't work out that way, but eventually did.
Eventually, but at the same time.
It would have ruined it would have ruined those characters for you forever, because being new players, you wouldn't have seen the other side of that perspective. Right. You just would have saw the mean guy beating up the guy who was nice to you and no one doing anything about it. In fact, many people actively making sure other people couldn't do anything about it.
I was going to say, I bet you between Dead Man and Butchers, they would have stopped others from trying to break it up.
Oh yeah, Ron would have tried to stop it, and the rest of the chains would have stopped him. And the Calm would have just waited to see what happened.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Are they done yet? No? All right, well, let us know when he's back up standing.
And it's one of those things of like, yeah, you gotta know when to make those cuts, even if it's in the heat of the moment. Or once again, if you start realizing, am I being too clever with this? Because yeah, if you have it so, you know, all these coincidences are happening, but it all happens to be part of a grand strategy, maybe it's worth not showing all of it. Even if you're really fucking proud of it, don't might just be being a little too clever.
That's a thing that can happen. I don't know if we fully answered that question, but I hope that was helpful.
I mean, it was. It was where do you start when you're writing your chronicle? And there are several options, and all of them can be true.
That's true. I mean, it really is. It's about where the inspiration hits, because inspiration for an arc or a chronicle comes at different points.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll just go on to the next one. Because again, they all can be true. It's personal preference, I guess. What do you define as the limits of natural Garu regeneration?
Let's see.
Regrowing limbs, organs. Where does generic damage stop? And, quote, you have a sucking hole in your lung, unquote, start.
Have you ever heard of a sunken chest wound? It doesn't say sucking, it says sunken.
Sucking.
Does it say sucking?
Yes.
Ah.
I'm just reading verbatim.
All
I'm
right.
I know. If it no, and honestly, no, I haven't.
Might be an actual term because yeah, you're trying to breathe and your lungs are trying to pull air in from any place they possibly can. But if there's a hole in it, then
see, I might be wrong here. There was sunken chest wound.
I didn't know I didn't know.
Of course, once upon a time, I thought it was bleeding like a stuffed pig. No shit. I was like in 4th grade, but I thought the term was stuffed pig, not stuck pig.
That's fair.
mm-hmm.
Actually, 4th grade for you? Shit, I think I was an adult.
Sorry, what?
Besides the point here.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were suggesting that I was in 4th grade while you were an adult.
No. Like when I learned the difference.
Stuffed pigs don't bleed. Okay. We should answer the question now. And this is at least, I think there's 3 of these healing related. We did one in part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aegis has the next one.
Yes.
I don't know, but yeah, I know there's a couple.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those ones that we built off the others. Garu regeneration will pretty well take care of anything.
So that's also limitless?
Well, I'm not saying limitless because there's aggravated damage to consider. Aggravated damage, and we know this, heals as if you were a human being.
Right.
So sometimes that means it doesn't. And then we have like the big shit, you know. And you'll hear conflicting reports based on what source you read.
I was going to say there's different sources that tell you different things.
Right. I do not follow the regenerate lost limbs on your own. I think that's a thing that should have to be done with Mother's Touch, or if it's not so severe, like it just won't regrow on its own. You know, if you reattach the limb, will it heal? Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe wrong, but that's...
Right, and that even then is going to go into the answer to a later question.
Mm-hmm. And
I know that, because I debated not breaking them up. Yeah, so for me, right, you know, like, your ear will grow back.
Sure.
Someone cuts your ear off, it'll grow back. The skin will regrow. Okay. If someone cuts a finger off, that finger's not going to grow back. If you put the pieces together, you sew that shit back on,
that will heal.
That will probably heal, provided it hasn't already battle scarred up.
Okay.
We're talking Mother's Touch, but if it goes too far, it goes too far. When Jaeger lost his arm, you guys were not in a position to reattach that arm and apply Mother's Touch.
No.
By the time you were in a position to do something about that wound, it was too late to do anything about that wound.
Right.
And that also goes back to other damage that was done.
I was going to say Changing Ways has a little bit more specifics on that, but yeah, there was other damage that was more life-threatening.
Yes, and that's important too. I was going to bring up Changing Ways, good call. Because yeah, it talks about how the healing will prioritize wounds over others. And, you don't need that arm to live, but you did need your throat to be in one piece to live.
Yep.
So, because those were both such severe wounds, your arm just got fucked off. Sorry about your luck.
Yep. Scarred over. Nothing you can do about it. But you can breathe.
So you're welcome. Hope Butchers in the Shadows will help with the bones to give you a weapon later. He said no 3 times. He said it to elders, so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, this is a fun little background detail.
Yeah, it's fine.
Siege, what you got? What do you think?
I'm in a similar position with the Garu regeneration. Like, it's usually about the magnitude of the thing. Like, yeah, you lose a hand, that's not growing back without some serious guy in magics. Like Mother's Touch being reattaching it or doing some other, maybe a fetished hand prosthetic sort of thing. But for the most part, yeah, if the hand's cut off, it's gone. Now something like, say, your eye gets fucked off, as long as it's not with silver or it's not like half of your skull was caved in along with it, there's a chance it will come back. It will just take a while in my games, usually.
Well, see, I think
that's the big difference, is how much time you got. If you're going to be in fight after fight after fight after fight, yeah, chances are you're going to be missing whatever you lost.
See, that was a good point you brought up with the aggravated damage.
Yeah, I think that makes there's a huge difference between regular and aggravated.
Yeah,
I guess regular, but
and again, back into the severity. Losing an arm is a much bigger deal than losing someone cut your ear off.
Mm-hmm.
That's just that's fine. But the idea that cartilage and bone and then muscle and skin will all regrow out of nothing is a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like CJ mentioned, without some guy in some intervention there.
That's fair. But I look back at a story with obviously what story I'm talking about specifically, but we already did in the postmortems with Whiplash. He got his hand cut off, but it wasn't ag.
Right.
So it did grow
and that
back
was the difference.
Eventually. It was just a very slow process.
Yeah. But that was the difference, is it wasn't ag.
Right.
It wasn't, if it were a silver weapon, that's a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a little wiggle room there.
Whereas,
if it's with lethal or bashing damage, if the bashing is severe enough, it will come back just in time for me. Now, if it's your entire arm, yeah, no, chances are that's not coming back to your hand. There's a good chance. You've got the time.
And I will like to point out in that one case for Whiplash,
mm-hmm.
he was an NPC and I needed something to happen for plot reasons.
I know.
So there was a little bit of...
I know. Especially now in retrospect, we've gone over it and we did postmortems. And
yeah. There was a little bit of a plot device involved there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I look at it with the Garu healing is, regeneration and healing are kind of two separate things in my mind. Regeneration is that thing that will happen either instantaneous via, an immaculate soak roll, versus the Garu healing, which can take some time. And sometimes Garu healing works too well in the sense of, oh shit, you've just taken 6 ag from one thing. It's going to immediately heal that wound, but not everything else.
Right. And so there's a little bit of a wiggle room there in environmental factors, situational factors, but yeah.
All right, then we'll just go to the next question. You get to rewrite one of the Farah top to bottom. Which do you pick and how do you do it? I think we know Porter's answer.
I think we do know Porter's answer, so CJ's going to go first. Or I'll do mine if CJ needs the time. Which is it going to be, buddy?
I was going to go with the Mokoi and make them crocodiles again.
Love it.
That's fair. I'll even go with one, and I'll say the Bastet. And I won't, don't give them the 22 tribes that they all have. Just make them one.
I thought you were going to say you're going to teach them how to use toilets.
Okay, that's the next thing. It's only one tribe. It's all just one Bastet, and yeah.
At least it's not one box.
We don't know that.
And then the next they get toilets.
I see, that's a little interesting, though. I don't hate that idea of Bastet just being Bastet, because Garu are just Garu.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are tribes, but they're not along the lines of different species of wolf.
Exactly. Which is why I picked Bastet, yeah.
I mean, fair enough. Siege, anything to expand upon with the Macaulay, or just they're just gators, they're just crocs now, crocs and gators.
I would make them primarily the crocodiles. I like them as the idea of Gaia's memory. Like, these are the Galliards are the history keeper of the Gar Nation. I like the idea of the Macaulay being the history keepers of Gaia in general.
I agree with that.
And take them back more to the alligator, and it's primarily so they're a little less up their own ass about the, we used to be the Dragon Kings.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Again, that's the part that bugs me.
And this way it'd be a little bit more feasible for, like, if, let's say, the Garu are looking for this very specific artifact, but the story has been long lost to the Garu, maybe it becomes a quest to find a Macaulay to try and see if they know, if you don't know of a realm that can help. And if they're not dinosaurs anymore, they could be a little bit more common.
But even if they're not, I think, for me, at least, the crocodile gator is way more interesting.
Agreed.
Than I'm going to dream up a kaiju form. Like, that just pulls me out of that shit instantly.
It bugs me.
All right. Which, ironically, is what I would do with the Rokia. We've talked about it before, but it merits, right?
Yes.
The question was asked. Here it is. I would, again, completely revamping them. I go with the Garu of the water. The water Garu. Their Gaia's water wings. Or, I don't know, aggressive snorkel men. Whatever. But they're there to defend the seas. Because the worm is everywhere.
Yeah.
Gaia needs defenders everywhere, and there's a lot of water on Earth.
Yeah. 70% water.
I don't know if you've ever had a glass of water, but more than that. Right. I know, Danny, you got your bucket of water that you drink from. It's not an actual bucket. We just call it a bucket. It's a gallon jug. Yeah. We call it a bucket because that's more fun.
Yes.
But Danny's bucket, but more than that bucket, if there were 2 buckets, that still wouldn't be enough
maybe
water. 3. It's even more than 3.
More than 3.
There's aggressively more than 3 gallons of water on Earth. So there's a lot of it.
Yep.
You could get a couple pools out of it, really. So
it needs defending.
Yeah, it's a lot of area to cover is my point. And so I would lean into kind of like they did with the Macaulay. They are the guardians of the seas, right? And now you do a whole bunch of Lovecraftian horrors from the deep, tentacle, deep sea inspired, what's down there lurking below, ready to destroy and corrupt and infest that we know nothing about because we can't go down there. And with that in mind, you remove the Hamid form entirely.
I was gonna.
Well, because
guessing, yeah.
Because again, I always thought it was really stupid. I think it was stupid design. It's poor design by Gaia's part to design a creature that is supposed to exist in water that a third of its forms can't exist in water, and then a third of its forms can't exist on land. Where the 1/3, why would you create something that a third of it will die in the environment the other 2/3 is supposed to be in? That is poor design. That's like a submarine and a submarine with a screen door. It's a bad idea.
I'm sure with enough Flex Seal you can make that work.
But you can do anything with enough Flex Seal. That's not what we're talking about. Nice. But so what I would do, right, is you have your shark form, and you have your other form, your other whatever form, some other type of undersea creature.
Sure.
Right. You don't even need the 3, honestly, but fuck it, we'll let it happen. Or maybe it's like Fish Hispo.
Yeah, like a Megalodon sort of
thing. I was going to say, you have Jaws, you have the Meg. Oh my God. And then your war form. And your war form is much like, and I've said this for years. If you guys have been paying attention, I've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. I just want that on record. Is that you kind of like the Macaulay's, you quote dream up your Krynos form, and what I mean there is that you get to piecemeal, squid tentacles, or like the swordfish nose, or you just can hodgepodge creatures of the deep. You know, you've got crab armor or crab claws.
Crab armor?
Yeah, like, you know, they're fucking like their shells.
I love it. No, it's awesome.
Yeah. You know, and you can make that horror of the deep monster, and that's the game that's played. It's all under the water all the time.
Oh, it's awesome. I love that.
That's what I would do.
I mean,
There's no reason for Rokia to be on land. Ever. There's a million Farah. There's all of the animals.
Yep. I
mean, there's way too many Farah.
There's a lot more interesting shit you could do in the ocean, considering, you know, the gauntlet's so high around where humans are. How low's the gauntlet at the bottom of the sea?
Right. Ironically, the sky's the limit is the saying. But, you know, we're going the other way. You know, the Mariana Trench, what's down there? What's in the Umbra down there?
Jesus, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Are there near realms?
Where does the Umbra begin and the physical realm stop?
Right? You could do all sorts of cool shit. But instead they bite, they fight, and they kick some fin. And I'm already bored, and I'm already mad.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a jawsome idea.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of the dream up your own, but if you're using it for what the Rokia should be, in your eyes,
yeah,
for that matter, I can get behind it that way. That I would understand, and I would say yes.
Right, like, and I use the term dream up at that point with quotes around it because you'd find some other excuse for it.
Sure.
But, I mean, you go along the lines of, well, you are the only guardians down here, so here's some wild infused, and maybe it's that. Maybe it's a connection to the wild that you want to beast up your fucking Krynos form.
And maybe it's because the gauntlet is so thin here, like, you have that full connection.
Right?
Agreed. All right. Then, next question, last question from Op. What's Raccoon up to?
just hanging out.
Collecting the shinies.
Chilling?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. I mean,
yeah.
Clearly he's got the postmortems and he's been enjoying those, so yeah. Bought the bundle, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I bought a bundle.
Or is he referring to the raccoon that showed up in the
Into the breach.
Yeah. Into the breach, that would be it.
Into the guilty, though, but it swapped it to guilty, did it not? No, it did. Because I let you guys... It's not important.
All right, then next questions. Agisandro. What was the quickest death of a character in a game?
Ever?
Only one of your games. What the quickest death?
I haven't had a lot of character death over the years. However, I don't think this is quite the question, but it's as close as I got, I think. My very first werewolf game. Player, not storyteller.
Fair.
I made my character that one night I talked about. They made fun of him for an hour. I made the character. It took like 3 hours because I had no help whatsoever. And I finally got done. He's playing Secret of Mana. He's hanging out playing on my SNES while I'm working on this character. Thanks for your help. But I finish, and the game was, here is Xylo kills the foe, the Geta Fenris, Ahram Metis.
That was the one with the...
Fangs in all forms.
Fangs in all forms.
Right.
It was.
In a Grand Clave to start with. Oh, so dumb. But the story is, and I'm going to run you through this whole story.
Okay.
And we're not going to do a part 3. So get ready for this. I wake up in my hotel room. Or in a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
We're assuming it's mine. We don't know where it is. We don't know what hotel this is. I don't know where I am. Or it's fine.
Everything's fine.
And so I leave. I leave the room. Because as a player who has never played a tabletop game before, I think his job is to kill me as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Oh.
So I'm walking down the hall, hugging the wall, in case I step in traps. Because that's what they do at Holiday Inn, is they put pet traps in the hallways.
Yeah, I know, I've seen it.
Yeah. Fucking Malaysian tiger things, and it's nuts. It's just nothing. There's like landmines and shit. Don't go to the Holiday Inn.
G6.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored by the Marriott.
No, they got booby traps.
No, the Haldane's got the booby traps, but that's not because the mayor told us to say that. You should try the Hilton or Best Western. Anyway. And so I get to here's the stairs, and I'm waiting, and I hear creaking, someone's walking up the stairs, and I see the shadow coming, and I get my clave ready, and as soon as the guy gets to the top, I take a step into the stair doorway, and I swing, and I cut a bellhop in half. And then a bane popped out, and I swung again and killed it. That's it. That's the first story. So there you go.
Congratulations.
Yep. That's the best I got.
Yeah. So I haven't had many character deaths either, or player deaths in games, so a lot of really fucking close calls. One where I underestimated how powerful Horns of the Impaler is.
Oh, wow.
I have been trying to hit these dicks with that for years. Literal years now.
Yep.
Every time they see someone with horns, they flip out and take them out first.
Yep. Every time. He's the instant target. Doesn't matter who else is there.
So mad about it. I'm going to have a dude made of balefire and then a dude with horns. Just so, pick one. Pick your fate. It's a cabin in the woods. Fucking decide.
Oh, shit.
And hell, it was Ginger's character because it was an ambush they had willingly ran into.
Nice job.
Oh, I remember her telling me about this. That was funny.
Hit by the Horns of the Impaler and had their first Rage Beyond Death roll.
Immediately.
Because I underestimated that power.
This is good. The good one. It's brutal. I love it. We had, in the Virginia games, I had a character have to do a death roll because there are steps to this, and we'll get to it on the day.
Mm-hmm.
But they were fighting a leech who frenzied.
Ooh.
And he ripped off a Garu's arm.
Oh, fuck.
And hit another Garu with it so hard, the guy had his death roll.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of awesome.
Kind of.
There's some of those times where the dice tell their own stories.
Yup.
Yep. Yeah.
I also had a guy get possessed once and shoot a pack-mate in the face and kill him.
Damn.
Yep.
That's pretty quick. That's what she said.
Ha.
All right.
We knew we were getting rid of that character, though, so it wasn't.
That's fair.
It was shocking to everybody because they didn't know how I was going to do it, but yeah.
All right, then. Next is, what are the limitations of Garu natural healing? From carries to more serious but natural diseases.
Well, it's well established that, I shouldn't say it's well established. But no, Garu ain't getting sick. You're not getting the flu.
Like I say, they're kind of immune to stuff like that.
Right, like if you stay in Hamid, if you're Hamid and you stay in Hamid, yeah, you can get the flu. You know how you fix that? Is you shift. Yeah, and it'll take care of it. I remember...
Go to your non-breed form. There we go.
Something that stuck with me, it was a passage, and I'm not quoting this, paraphrasing aggressively, was from the Silver Crown. And Albrecht was smoking, and it talked about, as I recall it.
Sure.
I need that to be clear. It's been a long fucking time since I read that. But it's talk about how Evan hated the smoke, it's bad for you, and Alex like, it's going to heal in my lungs instantly. I'm going to inhale this shit. Ooh, damage to my lungs. And then it's going to heal. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so shut up, kid, mostly. But that always kind of stuck with me, which isn't the best hill to die on, but sometimes that happens, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. It makes sense. All right, so unless you got something, CJ.
Oh no, it's a similar thing, and hell, I had my players learn it a little bit after their rite of passage. Their, built-in totem quest in it, they woke up basically hungover from the trip that they had thanks to all the peyote and everything. And this is where the line, welcome to being Garu, hangover's optional, came in.
Nice.
Yeah, chef team won't have it anymore. All right then, next. What was the most unnecessary, convoluted, or complicated thing a player has done in a game? And I guess that goes back to the same with we talked the last one with, problem storyteller or problem player, either one.
I suppose. That's a hard one to answer.
I can say I've been a complicated player because, again, I over fucking think things, and I'll make decisions based on my overthinking that are so unnecessary that it fucks everything up.
I wouldn't say it fucks everything up, but I will say sometimes you make decisions as your characters in ways that baffle me.
So it waylays, yeah. It has known to waylay a lot.
You know, and like I feel like I'm just making up an example because I don't hold on to these, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like at the time, it's like, what?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, what and why? Like, why don't you just ask him? Like, no, but I'm gonna shift to Lupus and hide in the cubby of like his drawer in his house. I'm gonna hide in the drawers and listen to see if he likes pepperoni or not. Like, just fucking ask him if he likes pepperoni.
Yeah. Let's be fair.
It's a super weird example, which is not accurate.
Not accurate whatsoever.
Like that scene never happened, but that kind of mentality has happened.
The mentality is there, yes.
Mm.
But again, my overthinking.
Yeah, sure.
And it's waylaid.
Gonna hide in his cupboard to find out what. It's
like,
not super.
Yeah,
go. Oh my god! Oh, shut up.
Oh yeah, closest thing to that I've had where a player like waylaid a session thanks to a similar case to Danny here of like overthinking it. It was the pack was meeting the new sept where they had the person who liked fucking with the new cubs entering the bomb. And they were talking to one of the elders who they just did not like because they were a cagey, shady motherfucker. They also happened to be making a big old pot of gumbo for the sept because, hey, you're in Louisiana, you gotta have some gumbo. And I don't know what I had said, but apparently something I had said like keyed into this one specific player. Beast, I am calling you out right now.
Oh. Hey, Beast, doesn't he owe us pizza?
Yeah, we're going to call you out twice.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But
sorry, go ahead.
Whatever I had said, he like keyed in on and immediately started this like conspiracy board in his head of how this person was worm tainting the entire set by feeding them human mixed into the gumbo. Because he had found a corpse earlier that was hinting at some Black Spiral Dancer infiltrators. Had nothing to do with her. And this turned into an hour-long in-character discussion, but because we were running out of time, it turned into a now 3-hour out-of-character conspiracy meeting between all of the players, and I'm just sitting here with a bowl of popcorn, listening and watching and enjoying the just insanity that was put on full display.
Beast, you and I have we've got some stuff in common, my friend.
And see, now I want to bring up, and we did this in the postmortems, I know we talked about this.
Yeah.
Is when you decided that Donovan Darkwing was in on it, and I don't know what in on it meant. I mean, I know it means they're working together, they're in cahoots, but on what, no one knows. But he was related to Danny's character's father. Donovan Darkwing was in it with Jaeger's father because Donovan Darkwing cut off someone's hand and Jaeger lost an arm.
Yep. They have to be connected.
Yep. So well, they're not. They got removed, so they're no longer connected. But somehow that was part of a grand conspiracy to something.
Yep. We don't. I still don't know what that something is yet.
Step 3 isn't. We don't even know that Step 3 is profit.
No.
I was going to say Step 2. But we don't even have Step 3 yet.
No, or Step 4, 5, or 6. 7 might be.
The
profit.
the underpants gnomes are stumped. So
I think Step 7 was profit. We just don't know what 4, 5, 6 are yet.
I don't even think you know what Step 2 is.
No, you didn't. Again, you knew that two people once severed something. So they're in on it together.
Mm-hmm.
One's worm tainted, one's not. Is one worm tainted? I don't know.
It's like different parts of the world. It was amazing.
All right, this one's gonna be a little. I think. All right, fine. Just gonna ask it. Make your own tribe, totem and tribe flaw included. I think we're going to hold on to that because that just might be its own show.
Maybe, and I don't even know if I I did do this.
Mm-hmm.
First year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I mentioned I don't think I had the tribal totem. And certainly not Flaw, but this was 2nd edition, so I did kind of do this. And I want to say, don't do this. Don't. This is on the dangerous don't list.
Yep.
This is bad idea, Jeans. But this is really dumb, so I'm going to share it with everybody.
This is what not to do.
Yes. This was a teenage Porter rookie year storytelling trying to be epic. And this is another endorsement for you don't have stop trying to be epic. You can write a good story with small stakes.
That's fair.
You know, you look at the movie Seven, right?
Oof. Yeah.
The killer in Seven, Mr. Seven, John Doe, wasn't going to rule the world. He didn't have the nuclear secrets. He was a man who killed some people. Not even a lot of people.
7.
No. But we won't spoil that movie.
Never
Not even
seen the whole thing.
Oh
so.
my God, Danny.
I know it's on the list of things I need to watch, but I don't want to.
I want to help you, and you're making my... Why don't you want help? I'm going to help you, buddy. Oh my God.
I know enough of it.
You don't... Danny... The point is, I'm so sad. I want to help you. We gotta...
We have a show to finish.
Yes, we do. Danny's getting antsy on this, too. Staring at that clock. But the stakes can be low. Sometimes you can write a good story with the stakes being low. You don't have to punch God to make it interesting. In fact, it probably doesn't make it interesting because it now trivializes everything that's not punching God. However, back to the point. My quote, epic. Each story was named after the chorus, a different line from the chorus of Metallica's King Nothing. So we're already embarrassed.
I was going to say interesting. I'm surprised, but...
This was an uprising. It was an offshoot of the Get of Fenris originally.
Okay.
Who were Captain America'd in an iceberg. They had a long ship and everything.
Okay.
And they rejected what had become of the nation in general. It's like they went to go back to the Get, and they're like, this is the best the Garu are now? Gross. We are gonna fight the worm and win. We are gonna lord over the worm. We will call ourselves the Worm Lords. Yes. Yes. They will beat it into submission and be its master. And so they formed their cairn inside Mount Rushmore.
No!
Because Mount Rushmore looks like a human heart from outer space.
Oh my God.
So it was like the heart of Gaia.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Right? It's terrible. The fuck are you talking about?
I hate it so much, but I fucking love it.
Right. No, it is. It's the worst thing.
I love how bad it is.
And see, I can admit it. It's awful.
Yes.
It's super embarrassing. We're laughing at it. We are laughing, not even with. We are laughing at it.
Yes.
First year Porter, you suck.
I love how bad it is.
Chapter 1, and it all crashes down. Chapter 2, and you break your... What? Go home. You need to go to bed. Yep.
And this is how we know it's on the dangerous don't list.
Right? Don't do it. Porter, young Porter, teenage Porter, you're fired. You are grounded. You're not fired, you're grounded.
Grounded. So the answer to his question is don't.
Yep. CJ, what's yours?
Maybe make a camp. But a small camp, and a not very important camp.
There
Don't
you go.
Make a tribe.
There you go.
I can get behind that one.
You can do a camp. Fucking go for it. Don't do.
Probably don't name them the Worm Lords.
But they're gonna lord over the worm.
Nope.
Do you understand? Their leader dances with spirals because he killed some spirals.
Holy shit, that one was... Oh, wow.
That's a nice callback, huh?
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
You killed all these spirals. We shall name you Dances with Spirals. What?
Ooh.
They don't... Yeah, that's not how this works.
You can hang out with Runs from Shadows and Lila Tree Climber.
Nice. The next one. In your opinion, gifts that serve more for the dramatic or cinematic effect, and for instance, more useful for the storyteller than the player.
I don't really know how to answer that. I don't, gifts,
I know there's a gift for, like, prophetic dreams and stuff like that, but...
Which certainly that would count. But yeah, like, I don't offhand... Like, I don't have the mad recall on the gifts because it's not... Like, the cool toys aren't my focus. So there's a lot of... what's that one do? I don't remember because I don't...
Not necessary for that moment.
Right, or I never knew because I don't... I know a lot of people, they open the tribe book and they go to the gift and they look at the cool powers and they remember the cool power, and I don't do that.
Right.
So, I'm bad to answer this. But I do think most gifts can give the opportunity to do a little flourish for the storyteller. I will take some dramatic license with the effects of some gifts. Certain gifts, like Battle Mandala. I think is my favorite example. I
can't remember the name of it, but yeah, that's the first one that came in my head.
Yeah, that's my favorite example. That's the one I'll use as opposed to going all day on it.
Sure.
Is when people use Battle Mandala in my game, what happens is the area of effect, like on the ground, the user's tribal glyph appears in a circle of green light. Like kind of like if you're a strider, cracks in the ground form the strider glyph.
Yeah.
And then there's the circle in it, and it's all green light emanating from the cracks in the ground kind of thing.
I think that's fucking awesome. Yeah, you've put some serious detail into explaining that one out the first and second time that was used. And it was like, oh, okay, this makes sense because what else are you supposed to do with it, right?
Right. Like I think it's a great visual cue.
Yes.
It's the same way that your eyes will glow when using Sense Worm, or your hand will glow with a light when using Mother's Touch.
Right.
Nowhere is these things written. I just think they're nice flourishes to add some more mysticism and wonder into the world.
I like how you do it that way. It helps build the visual, helps be able to see it and put the perspective in your head.
Oh, thank you. Siege?
Aside from that one that's like prophetic visions and stuff like that, I can't think of any off the top of my head. And for the most part, yeah, I use them for like a lot of those, little flourishes or just a little bit of character depth. Like recently in one of the games, the pack ran into somebody who has the gift Aura of Confidence. That signature look of superiority and everything. And I basically flavored it as it's just that general vibe that this person is dangerous and will kill you given a single chance. It also helps that it was the warder, so...
Hey, there you go.
All right, then. Next set of questions. Saragde. So after falling down the rabbit hole of canceled World of Darkness projects, I am curious if there are any books, games, or movies that you were interested in, but then were axed.
Actually, I was looking forward to this question. I have this answer. Is the original Croton song.
Really?
Yeah, in the back of, it was either When Will You Rage or the Silver Record. So these are first edition fucking books.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both novels, but they tease Bill Bridges' Croton song. And what was teased, I don't remember the exact wording, but it sounded like it was going to be a novel.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it aggressively was not the source book that we got, in the next edition. So I would, honestly, I would love to get him on the show and ask him directly what that was going to be. But that's not a spoiler. We're not foreshadowing.
No, but if you
But I would love to.
Yeah, but if you know, hey, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with that man. And that's like my first question. I mean, it's probably not my first. It's probably like, hi, or how are you doing? But
because manners.
Right, because manners are a thing, But that's my biggest question. I am so curious.
Oh, wow. I mean, I know you have that curiosity, and you've told me about it before, and I didn't think that would be the answer for this. Yeah, good call.
I don't know a whole lot of canceled books, but I do know that didn't happen, and I'm sad.
How about you, CJ?
I mean, aside, the only real canceled werewolf games or just World of Darkness games in general that I know of off the top of my head, let alone books. I know there was a werewolf game before what was going to be Heart of Gaia that got canceled. I know it like appeared in a single magazine or something. I'm curious what the idea was for that.
You can find footage of it on YouTube.
Yeah, we tried. I remember that.
No, I found it twice, and I keep losing it. And so I think it's either pinned in Visual Inspirato now.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to lose it, and if not, the trick is, because it was a PlayStation era, but the footage that exists was for the Saturn version. So you have to look at Sega Saturn Werewolf the Apocalypse to get the footage.
Fuck. All right.
It will not show up if you're looking for PlayStation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the footage
might
exists.
have to look into that after this.
Yep. It's embarrassing. It would have been awful, but it is a thing.
Man, if they could write one, that's a different show. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, I would say I would love to see what would happen if Earthblood got canceled and had another 10 years.
Yep, we're gonna skip, but we're gonna keep going.
No. What do you got? What do you got?
No, I was laughing at that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were skipping questions.
No. Recently read through the 20th edition of Mind's Eye Theater, the over 700-page one. What are your views and opinions on this game line? Have you ever tried or thought of having a werewolf LARP? If so, how immersive would you consider going? Include fully detailed props like claves, miscellaneous weapons, costume fittings, or even just the 90s aesthetic?
I'm gonna bum you out. No. I'm not a LARPer. That's not a thing I have interest in. Like, wouldn't do it, wouldn't try it. Sorry. Especially, we knew someone who was big in the LARP scene back in the day, and I was told things about how it works and some of the visual cues for different forms, and I'm not interested in wearing a tail or putting my hands up on my ear of my head to pretend I have ears. I'm not. It's not for me. If you enjoy it, please enjoy it, and please continue to enjoy it. I'm not interested. It's not for me. However, as far as the differences, I know there are differences. Again, in the rules, obviously, but I guess there are lore differences, and I don't know I don't know what they are, but I know there are differences.
Which is weird to me.
Right, for me too. Because
I've heard a few differences from it that are kind of baffling.
It baffled is how I want to describe my stance on it, right? Because I don't even, not even knowing the differences, it doesn't matter. Why did you make the differences? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you play the game as the game that you like? Because that's the game. It's like, because I'm standing in the park, I can't, the tribes are different? Or whatever? I don't understand. I don't get it. It's not my world. Sorry.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm about the same thing with just LARP in general. I'm not a huge, I've got no desire to go play it. The closest I've ever gotten to LARPing was when my buddy came back from a Ren Fair one day with actual armor that he bought, and we decided to test it on each other with prop weapons.
Neat.
That I would see. I could see that.
Somebody got their bell rang by a trash can lid that was a shield.
I had some buddies who used to sword fight with the wooden swords you get at those. Mm-hmm. Beat the shit out of it. And then we switched to the lightsabers, those plastic telescope lightsabers.
The telescope ones, yeah.
Yeah, because they were way cheaper.
Yep.
You break a couple of those swords and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, those are kind of expensive.
But we can go get the $5 telescope sabers. We can get 6 of those and just beat each other's asses till they,
Yep, those broke a lot.
Yeah, but it was okay because they were cheap. It's fine.
All right, then. What product other than game books, like accessories, collectibles, or clothes, do you wish they had released for Apocalypse?
Oh, man. Sad. I mean, there were stuff. There was werewolf stuff. Mm-hmm. But they...
Merchandise?
Yeah. No, there was. I mean, obviously there was the clave, which I've got one. Yeah.
I would have liked to seen a Warhammer too.
Do you want a Jarlhammer?
A Jarlhammer,
That'd be
yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, I know.
There was at least one shirt. I don't know if there were more officially, but I know there was one. Like, I know later on X-Path did shit through, like,
Yeah.
Redbubble, but that I don't count that. I mean, I guess I should, but whatever.
But,
T-shirts exist. Fine.
Yes. But you can put anything on a t-shirt kind of thing.
Point. The lighter exists. The coffee cup existed. You know, you had the tribal necklaces, which were really cheap.
Okay.
That was a bummer.
I mean, obviously we know there's dice. Man, if we can get some RAI dice.
We back on that?
I would love to be.
I would enjoy more, like, tribal dice where they're all, like, different colors based off the tribe.
Yeah, I always thought of that too. And that's kind of how I picked my dice.
That would have been cool. Yeah, they did comics. They could have done more. Maybe they should have done more.
Oh, that would be really cool.
I mean, look, more werewolf stuff is good. So I'm looking at what was already there, and it's like, I guess it's more than I thought it was, but like Vampire got so much shit.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, Werewolf got way more than Mage did, which got more than Changeling did, and Wraith. And so, like, you're bummed out, but there's only, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess just more stuff, maybe some better quality stuff. Those tribal necklaces were such a bummer.
What, just cheap?
Yeah, they were. They were just like plastic.
Oh, nah.
Like they didn't. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know. I'm a huge nerd. I would like to see some werewolf figures.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
That'd have been cool.
I could, yeah. Like some 1/18 scale? Maybe.
Sure, 112, whatever size.
112 would be awesome.
You know, just some fucking cool bunch of Crinoses. Crinosai is the plural now.
Beautiful.
Who wouldn't want a fucking Margrave staining on their mantle?
Oh.
Crinos or Hamid. I do them both.
Yeah, both. Fuck yeah, dude. I'd probably pick up a Gogol first. But
Sure. Even generic, dude. Like, you'd build a pack.
oh, yeah. That would be fucking cool. Anything from you, ZJ?
I mean, more dice, and certainly wouldn't mind minis, since I've been getting into that whole angle of things.
That's true. There were werewolf minis for first edition.
Yes.
They're terrible.
Yeah, well, they're really mini, too.
No, I mean, I think they're proper mini size.
Mm.
I believe that's standard size, but I mean, they don't.
Okay, and then
Damn, more of those have been rad too.
yeah. So I know he said it says working off the previous question, which clearly was from someone else, but anything you wish would come out in the future, both game books and other products. So I guess it's kind of same question as the one before. It's all related.
I wish someone's. This might get cut. We'll find out.
Well, he also says not related to 5th edition.
No, I wasn't gonna
Yep.
fucking. No, I think I would like it if like a werewolf podcast. You know, like someone's, you know, probably someone's favorite, a lot of people's favorite werewolf podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast.
Yes, I definitely have a favorite.
Would publish a book that was like a new edition, like in response, you know, maybe add some new concepts and touch down on the lore and how to update things, and maybe put a new combat system in and talk about the tribes. And I think that'd be neat.
That would be awesome.
That'd probably take a couple years to develop properly because it's kind of a huge job.
That's a pretty big job.
And I'd imagine those people have day jobs and shit and are pretty fucking busy already. But I think that would be a neat thing, is if they worked on. I don't know who they are. That's a mystery.
Mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is a regular Sherlock Holmes out there, let us know, because that sounds fucking cool as hell.
No, werewolf, not Sherlock Holmes.
That sounds like a really awesome idea, Porter.
Thank you.
I should definitely.
I hope it hasn't already been in the works for 8 months.
I mean, if it would be, we know it's going to be a while before it's out still.
Again, a couple, probably a year or two. At least a year.
At least. You need 5 guys.
Yeah.
You probably, yeah.
You would need 5 guys. I mean,
I don't know who they would be. I mean, I would have ideas if I could pick them out of a hat.
Oh no, I would know who those 5 would be.
Oh, I could speculate, but I don't. It's weird. I mean, I'm just if I could have a thing. I mean,
you know what? That would be a hell of a surprise. Yeah, that's.
I don't know if this is included or not. We'll find out, right?
Yeah, my biggest one right now would be like I'd like to have a actual Wild West source book or a more modern edition.
I dig that.
You got the first edition book, and then you got the little 20-page companion thing.
Wasn't there?
You could use an update.
Wasn't there a Wild West 20?
That's the companion pamphlet.
Okay.
About the same size as the Duisha book.
Ooh, fair enough. Well, you had the core book, you had the Mexico book.
Frontier Secrets, and a few little settings, yeah. But they're all first edition.
Well, to be clear, it's first edition of Wild West, which came out between second and third.
Oh, jeez, okay.
Okay, yeah. I'm mixing up the dates.
I mean, well, that's fair. I mean, I think maybe it came out before you were born, and I'm super mad that might be true.
It's a possibility. I'm not going to confirm it or deny it yet.
Like, I'm mad at you that might be true.
Yeah, you specifically.
How dare you be so young? It's in the spirit of the question, but maybe not directly as it was asked.
Fair.
I guess my wish list of books that I wish had come out, because it's too late now, right?
Oh, yeah.
We got a White Howler Tri book. Why didn't we get a Bunyip one?
Bunyip Tri book? That'd be cool.
Croton would have been nice too, but really Bunyip, because they're the most different and therefore interesting.
Fair.
You know, also Croton Song is a much better book than Rage Australia, I think.
Yeah.
So one needed it more than the other, is my point. I would have loved a book about gifts or rights, or perhaps both. Not just like a collection of all of them, but working on advice for how to create new ones. And some of the nuance of that, I would have loved that.
I can get behind that. That'd be cool.
It's something that detailed more about totems and the bonds, and you know, I think there was a lot of ground that still could have been covered.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of work.
Well, they were paid to do it, though. That was their jobs.
Yeah. Well, yes, you're right.
Like, it's not like now where people do stuff in the Storyteller's Vault when they have time. These people worked for White Wolf back then, and their jobs were to write books for White Wolf. So,
I mean, you're right. Okay,
your job.
Take that back. Yes, do your job. All right, then we have one more set of questions. These are all from Ginger again.
I saved these for last intentionally.
I figured you did.
She's got her own page.
She does. Look at that. Our favorite Ginger. What are all favorites, tribes, and auspices? I don't think I've heard them yet.
I don't know if I have a favorite tribe, but there.
I get was my favorite, but like doing the podcast and we've done research and we read the books just so we can do these episodes, I've grown an appreciation for each of the tribes, especially Bonars, obviously, at this point. I think that's the biggest appreciation out of all of them would be Bonars. But if you were forcing a gun to my head and I had to pick one, I'd go back to the Get.
That's fair.
And auspices, the most interesting, I'll say Philodox, followed by Thurge. But for me to play would be Hara. I've had way more fun playing as Ricochet than I expected myself to. Yeah. Jaeger Gorefist will always have that special place in my heart. He was my first character. I never want to give him up. I never want to let him down. Just kidding. I hope one day I'll be able to bring him back and keep going with him. But Ricochet is a totally different animal. I don't know how else to put that. It's a totally different mindset for me. It's a big deal, and I enjoy that a lot. And a lot of it has to do with the different auspice.
All right.
Different mindset, totally.
Yeah.
Mr. J?
I'm in a similar boat with you guys of like no real favorite tribe, but if I had to pick a favorite or like make a character right now and had to play it, I'd probably go with Striders. They're one of my first like actual characters that I made and had fun in playing with and kind of stuck. Now, Auspice Theurge, I fucking love the entirety of spirits and dealing with all that shenanigans. There's just so much to do as a Theurge.
Yeah, like I said, interesting wise, that's probably up there.
Yes, again, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I will say, I guess it would be a tie Like, I said, gun to my head couldn't pick a fit, but, fine. Gun to my head. It would be a 3-way tie between the Geth, the Striders, and the Shadow Lords.
Oh, yeah.
Surprising no one.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Not a surprise at all.
Yep.
All right, then, which other World of Darkness game would you be interested to try?
Into your head, you gotta play another World of Darkness game. What is it?
Oh, gun to my head?
You know what?
Pull the trigger.
Perfect.
No.
So Wraith is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I don't know. Does Demon Hunter X count?
You can say it does.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably do that.
Okay. Neat.
And we know CJ was a vampire player already.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of Vampire, but if I had to pick, I'd probably go with something like Changeling.
Interesting.
All right.
Gun to your head.
No. If Demon Hunter X wasn't an option, like I maybe that, but I'm gonna say it's not an option because that's a source book. Okay. But I'm only for this, not to invalidate yours. Like fair. I'm gonna take it off on my list. But I would say, I guess Hunter, which again I have spoken ill of that in the past. Like I said, I've never gone bowling and wanted to be the pins, and that's how my experience with Hunter went.
Right. If there were certain changes made to it, you could give it a shot.
Perhaps. I know I really enjoyed the character I made for Hunter, but I hated the game so much I never got to run with it. I based him off Bill Murray in Ghostbusters 2. Specifically Ghostbusters 2. Because remember how like they're all working different jobs?
Yeah.
And he's like the cable access like sightings type show?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the character. As he was the host of like a cable access like sightings, paranormal show.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Right, so he's like a total fraud, and that's what I loved. Like I liked the character.
He's a complete fraud. But because people knew him already, he had that establishment.
And he'd lean into his like not real fame. Like he'd offer to give autographs and like, who are you again? My time on the stage has told me that. It's like what, like Peter Cushing in Fright Night.
Oh,
was
nice.
it Peter Cushing? Yeah, it was Peter Cushing, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Where, he's playing the character and then they go meet him and he's just like, I'm an actor. What do you fucking... And then it turns out to all be real. So like, yeah.
Nice. All right, then, is there a supernatural RPG we are missing, in your opinion, for the World of Darkness?
Yeah, we're missing a werewolf. It's a game that knows what the Umbra is. Shit.
I mean, kind of the answer to the question, but like, because Grant has sent me the link, the new Ninja Turtle TTRPG is there. I think I'd try that out, if we can make that kind of like a World of Darkness-y version-ish.
Was that the question? Did I misunderstand the question?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not the question.
Yo,
I was just throwing it out there, though.
Okay, you're like, this is my answer.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. I did that a couple times.
If we can put that into the World of Darkness, that would be cool.
I don't think that would be cool. Make it its own thing.
I mean, it is its own thing.
I know it is its own thing. I'm just on World of Darkness.
Fine, but then I'll just answer my own question here of like, I would love to try that.
Okay. See, there you go, though.
That works.
See,
if I had to pick one, I don't know if this is an actual thing or not, but for like a supernatural RPG, especially something in like the World of Darkness, I wouldn't mind a game set up like the SCP Foundation, just you're playing as the anomalies breaking out or on the run.
Oh,
that can be cool.
Yeah.
I think there might be room for like a Wraith game. I don't know a whole lot about Wraith. It's not my jam. I think Grant would be thrilled that I'm saying this like unprompted. But something that dealt, with all that, I think there's room for that. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Rabbit Out of Hat Simulator, but
all right. Who's your favorite X-Man?
Beast.
I know that's yours. By far.
Oh, yeah.
There's no, not even a close second.
I mean, there's a lot of fucking... Beast is my favorite character. There you go. He's my favorite X-Man and my favorite superhero.
I don't say that's different.
Yeah, it's Daredevil.
My favorite X-Men, depending on how old I was.
I ruined this for him.
Yeah. Well, there's three answers.
Okay.
But again, it all depended on how old I was.
Well, how old are you now?
That's none of your business, sir. 4 years younger than you.
Whew. So...
Nightcrawler, Gambit, Iceman.
Okay.
Gambit, and then I don't want to say quickly, but I unfortunately realized Gambit is just main character, man. And he's super cliche. And I hate that I have to admit that out loud because I enjoyed the shit out of it, but like, wow.
I ruined that for Danny with a 20-minute conversation. It might not have even been 20 minutes.
No, it didn't take 20 minutes.
Like, I dismantled that shit pretty quickly. Sorry.
But you
I think a little bit was on air.
Probably.
Maybe. Yeah. But I did it well before that.
Yeah.
Sadly.
And there were plenty of facts on why. It's not like you just said, no, that's wrong. You just said, here is why.
Well, that's the thing. Like, with me, the answer is never just no. Yeah, just no. No, because I said so. Or it's bad because I don't like it. Like, no, fucking... It's okay to like things that are bad or dislike things that are good. The why is the important thing.
Yes. So, but because of but Iceman's always been up. Iceman's always been at least the top 3 in Iceman. That's it. That's just my answer. CJ.
I've myself never been super into the X-Men, at least not as much as Porter here. But if I had to pick, it would be Nightcrawler or Wolverine, specifically older Wolverine.
Okay, I think it's fair. But yeah, Nightcrawler is fucking cool as hell, too.
Yeah, Nightcrawler is great.
If y'all were kinfolk, how do you help the nation? In what ways? Financially, marching the streets, Robin Hood practices?
I want to go last on this one.
Okay. I want to help as much as I could, but I don't want to be in the mix. Too close.
Because you're chicken?
Mm-hmm. Sure, because I'm chicken.
Okay. I don't know, you're back in fighting shape. You should be on the front lines.
Thank you, but... I don't know what good it's going to do me without actual claws.
Work a gun?
Yes. Like, I could probably be some kind of, like, scout, maybe. I might be able to do some kind of, like, look, wherever guy takes us. Because it's aired by now. They have to get someone's got to get a job at the meatpacking place. I could be that kinfolk that would
you go
do that.
Okay. Taking jobs.
Yeah. Right. It's aired by now.
That's fine. I'm not bothered.
CJ.
If I had to pick, it would be something like, the kind of kinfolk who just stays in the small town, keeps their ear to the ground, and, similar to KT, if you hear anything weird, you let the local pack know. But right now would be more in the position of, thanks to where I live, having that quiet place out of the way that, a pack on the road could just crash at, or a pack on the run from something, be it the cops or whatnot. A quiet, secluded place that they could hide a while.
Okay. For me, I think I would do, I would spread Gaia's message, but like in a tricksy way. Because people don't like being preached at, right? So you make sure. And I would probably do that through like a podcast. And what I would do...
I'm feeling this is where this was going.
What I would do is I would set up like a Ko-Fi where people could become backers, and I could use that money to help further the nation. And you know what? You can too. All you have to do is go to our Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/Rage Across the Internet. You can help the cause because it's awesome. Next question.
Porter, the secret kinfolk. Got it.
I did it, everyone.
What's your favorite?
I had a feeling, and...
What's your favorite type of candy?
Almond Joy.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, now that I know that, I'll grab one next time.
Yeah. I don't do sweets often, but Almond Joy.
I am a sucker for Reese's, and all like the different kinds of Reese's are fantastic. Fast breaks are awesome. The big cups with now they have ones with peanut or with chocolate. Yeah, with chocolate chips in them. They have ones with potato chips in them. They have one with pretzels in them. Yeah, they're awesome. They're so good.
Dude, if
you get behind the pretzel one.
If you bring a Reese's cup with potato chips in it into my home, I'm kicking you out.
I'm bringing you one, and you're going to taste it.
No, well, that'll be from outside. Because that shit ain't coming in my house.
It's fantastic. They're so good. I'm telling you.
I'm not kidding.
But they're so good.
I refuse. I would rather you bring heroin in here.
That's an odd choice.
I know.
They're really good. Nutrageouses are good. Reese's Take 5s are awesome.
Oh my god, you hear this guy's like Willy Wonka over here.
The only two things better than Saturday and Sunday together are chocolate and peanut butter together. That's my answer.
That was very wholesome, and
you're welcome.
I was expecting that to go somewhere else.
Me too, honestly. See, what did you say again? Because this guy freaked me out with his weirdness. His potato chip.
Oh, I hadn't gone anywhere yet, but it would have been fucking Whoppers or chocolate-covered malt balls.
Ooh, Whoppers are good. That's nice. I mean, who doesn't love a Reese's cup just without potato chips in it, you communist?
Oh, man. You say that, but I'm telling you right now.
Did they make you eat one as a condition to join the Taliban?
No.
So you just joined it on your own, and that's when you started eating those?
You ever had a chocolate-covered potato chip?
No.
Those are good, too. And I was like, oh, they're going to add peanut butter, too? Done. Oh, my God. All right.
It sounds like you're just cutting your Reese's with potato chips so it goes further.
I know what you're...
Danny's middle name is Diabetes.
All right. A couple more, I promise here. If you could make a Werewolf the Apocalypse video game, how would it look? Because we all know what happened with Earthblood.
I'll let you guys go first, because I've thought about this on my own before she asked this question.
I think we've said it enough times that start from the beginning. Don't make an established person who's well in their 40s not know what the fuck is going on ever. It's just...
If I had to make one broad strokes, it would be more of a Witcher-esque game.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Open world, going around hunting monsters.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. But again, maybe start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, see, Witcher 3 would definitely be the template. Bottom line. I think a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. I would not start at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I think my story in this one would be, again, because you want to... People complained a lot that, your character was a Fianna. Mm-hmm. You couldn't choose, which you should have been able to in Earthblood because there wasn't really a story there.
Yeah.
And the tribe wasn't relevant to anything.
Yeah, we said that in several cases.
I think it's brought up once in a note you can find in the first area.
Right, it's not important. But, if it was important to the story, then I'm totally okay with not giving that choice. And this was something that I would do. I don't know what that character would be, but that's less important. He is an established character. But the story is a revenge, the overall story. Plenty of side quests and exploration and all that shit too, don't get me wrong. You have your character come to the new city, the new land, all right? He's from somewhere else, but he's chasing, this is a revenge story. He's chasing the Black Spiral pack that murdered his pack. He's the sole survivor. And you can tell that story about, what happened.
Yeah, different flashbacks.
In flashbacks. You can do a flashback to his first change, maybe. And what you do is you have him befriend a pack of cubs along the way. Maybe you establish a sept in the game. Maybe you even build a cairn as like a side quest endgame thing that, culminates. Maybe you even do that. Like, what bigger challenge would there be, right? Than helping guard a cairn while it's being built. The fucking, how great would that be? But see, this way, by having your supporting cast be cubs, you can do those intro stupid questions. Because they, like the Lost in the Woods pack, they ask the stupid newbie questions. So your character can give them the answers.
Okay.
What's the Umbra?
Yeah.
And your dude goes, it's the spirit world, stupid.
Yeah.
Unlike Carl, who's like, what's the Umbra?
I've been here for 30-something years.
Right? Again, I remember the 60s. But I don't remember the Umbra.
No, I like that because you're still giving the information to the player.
Yeah, you still get the exposition dump, but you do it in a way that doesn't make your main character look stupid. And you have cut out the where's your pack question. Because the main plot revolves around getting revenge for the death of your pack.
Yeah, now, you're a lone wolf, and here's why.
Right.
That would make sense. God. Copyright. Rage Crossing Internet.
That's not how that works, sadly. But hey, if
somebody steals the idea and makes a good game.
Yeah, right? Like, hey, maybe some of you folks... at Paradox or whatever, who are pretending not to listen, maybe give us a call and we can do this and we can set up the show and we can have you make some money. Just throwing it out there. It's crazy.
Pretending to listen. Okay.
Somebody has to, statistically, right? But
I go with statistically, yeah. All right, very last question. Make a deed name for each other. Go.
Oh, I object to this question as I feel it is fundamentally mean-spirited.
I was going to say it depends, because CJ kind of mentioned it. I mean, it's probably going to get cut, but CJ mentioned a little bit ago, I get like a new deed name every episode.
We had Red Nose, Ball Dropped.
Ball Dropper.
I think you combo that. You go Red Nose Ball Dropper.
Hey, 'tis the season.
I will say, I feel like this is inherently mean-spirited. And I'll tell you why.
You go ahead, tell me why, and then I'll tell you.
It's in the Virginia games. One of my players and I, he was a very good friend of mine, had deed names for each other.
But they were all a friendship insult thing.
Right.
That you can take because you're friends, but...
Right, like if anyone else said it, that's fighting words.
Yes.
But
which I can understand, because again, if it's Porter, I'm okay with this, and yes, I will say it out loud, I play the victim mentality a lot just for the good of the show.
The good of the show.
So
don't blame that. Don't blame the good of the show.
No, I'm not. But it is very often a bit, and because it is fucking funny. But again, Porter is my brother. Porter is my friend. That is acceptable. You come at me and you've never met me before, and you think you can make those same judgments.
Well, we've had that problem in the past in the Discords.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people will, and it's like, look, because they listen along, and there's you feel you forge. It's a one-sided thing,
yeah,
right? But you feel like you build a relationship and a bond with the people you listen to. That's not special to us. This is how most YouTubers form their careers.
Right.
You know, people watch Markiplier because they feel like they know him,
mm-hmm.
and he doesn't know you. So you can't show up to a thing and like punch him in the arm and go, "Hey, old piece of shit." That's not.
That's not how it works.
No. So sometimes, yeah, it's like you can't pick on Danny. I can pick on Danny. Nobody picks on my little brother but me.
Yes, I'm full on saying it. Yes, Porter knows his limits though.
Well, there have been times, right? Like I've gone to bust your balls and I'll hit you in a DM instead because I don't want to put that in the main room because then people will latch onto that. It's like no.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, I know he's gonna say something and he won't, but then I'll get the DM. Like, yep, there it is.
Yep.
Because it was worse than I thought it was gonna be.
Right? Like you might cry after this one.
There's times during like game night or during like the hangout nights and everything where Danny will say something and even I will be like, "Are you sure about that?"
Because we all know Porter's there too. And
I could say something about it, but this is definitely more Porter's territory.
Yeah, the well-known joke about Porter and my mom. Yes, it's there.
Punchline.
I'll take it.
There you go, buddy.
I'll take it. Thank you.
If you're going to call me and your mother a joke, you got to be the punchline.
Oh, my God. Oh, holy shit. Oh.
What did I say in the beginning? What did I say?
Oh, my God. If you weren't who you were, I would fucking be crying right now. Oh, my God.
And you see how you set that up for me?
Fucking on it and everything.
Right?
A Christmas present.
Right, exactly. And I think on that note...
Yes, please. I'm tired.
We are going to have to call this one. CJ, Danny?
Oh,
good times?
Oh, absolutely. Every time.
Good times as always.
We want to say, again, hope you guys had a great holiday and have a really fun New Year. Yeah. Go have some fun. There's not enough of that anymore. Just fucking have a blast. And we will see what the new year holds. I mean, that's a conversation for later. And we'll deal with that next year. Yeah. 2024, season 4. We got some changes coming. Everything's going to be okay. But I promise, everything will be okay. Danny, will everything be okay?
Everything will be okay.
CJ?
Everything will be okay. And remember, have a good day, or else.
That's right.
Well done.
Punchline with the hammer.
Knock, knock.
So, on behalf of everyone here at Scratch Wolf Studio, Mr. Daniel Tyson, a dear friend CJ, and myself, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep your claws sharp, your head in a swivel, and we'll see you.
I consented. You give me some extra love.